Riding along New Jersey's roadways on a motorcycle can be an invigorating and thrilling experience for riders. Unfortunately, motorcyclists are at increased risk of injury when an accident occurs, with more than 80% of the 12,000 accidents reported between 2012 and 2016 resulting in injury or death. There are several options for a victim to get compensation for their injuries. Motorcyclists are required by law to maintain an insurance policy with bodily injury liability coverage on their motorcycles, and car owners will usually have bodily injury liability coverage as part of the required policies as well. What will insurance cover? All motorcyclists must have insurance policies that include minimum bodily injury liability coverage to pay for personal injuries. Typically, all drivers will have standard auto policies that include equal coverage. However, drivers may choose a basic auto policy that does not include this coverage. Generally, the number of victims will determine what a policy will pay out. Basic motorcycle policies and standard auto policies will include a minimum $15,000 per victim, and in accidents with multiple victims, they will provide a minimum $30,000 per accident. If a driver chooses a basic auto policy, they may have no bodily injury liability coverage or only optional coverage of $10,000 per accident. What's more, bodily injury liability coverage will typically only cover medical expenses and similar tangible costs, not things like pain and suffering, and $15,000 may not be enough to cover even the medical expenses. In cases where this is true, you will need to consider filing a lawsuit. Suing a liable party. To sue for more money, whether for medical expenses or non-economic losses of pain and suffering, you or a loved one usually must experience what is considered a serious injury under New Jersey's limitation on lawsuit threshold. Most auto and motorcycle policies include the limitation, which will restrict your right to sue, but it's possible to purchase policies without the limitation at a higher cost. If you do have to meet the threshold, the following injuries will satisfy it: death, dismemberment, significant scarring or disfigurement, displaced fractures, loss of a fetus, permanent injury within a reasonable degree of medical probability. In our experience, you will generally settle out of court if you are able to sue. A good case will have clear mistakes and negligence on the part of a liable party, and they will wish to avoid a trial involving an expensive legal process. However, if you do accept a settlement, you waive your right to sue or appeal for further compensation. If you and the liable party cannot settle out of court, a trial can take several years. The average settlement for a motorcycle case is under $75,000. But there are many confidential settlements which may well be above that number and just haven't been reported publicly. Of course, the amount you receive will be reduced by your own liability for an accident, as determined by the court, if any. If you or a loved one was injured in a motorcycle accident, contact us at Rosenblum Law for a free no-obligation consultation. Motorcycle accidents can be quite complex, and the injuries can be very serious. We'll be sure to examine all of the angles of your case and provide you with answers to all of your questions as well.